And if you're waiting to make Thanksgiving dinner until the Wednesday or the Thursday of, you're too late. Make your stock in advance. In fact, we are shooting this months in advance. I am going to make this gravy, freeze it, and then defrost it on Thanksgiving. So I'm already getting a down payment on my Thanksgiving dinner. Today on Don't Panic Pantry, we are making smoked turkey gravy. The gravy to beat all other gravies. This is the one that basically covers up all sins. The secret to a great Thanksgiving dinner is make really good gravy, and it'll make up for dry turkey, gummy mashed potatoes, weird dry stuffing. This will be the answer to all of your problems.
I brought my own turkey. Can I have a bite of that turkey in the pan? This is like, you already saw this, folks, but like, remember you go to the Renaissance Fair and you'd like commit yourself to speaking in Middle English for like a full week? No? Just me? Is it cooked all the way through?
Yes, this is the edge. The bone might not be, but that is fully cooked.
It's delicious. Oh my God. There's nothing better than smoked turkey.
And it's not salted, so the dog can have it.
I'll get out of your way. Can I have some more? Oh, that's the part you want. That's why you go. Look at that. It's juicy.
That smoke ring. You could just do this raw. You could take raw turkey, put it in a pot, make turkey stock. And if you want to know how to make stock, simply go to our video about chicken stock, and that'll give you a good little gateway. So we'll kind of zoom through this, but these were just lightly coated in oil and then smoked for about 2 hours at around 250 degrees, between like 210 and 275. We just kind of let it go up to 275, loaded them up and let it just slowly creep back down for 2 hours. These are just gonna go in the pot, cover with water, bring to a simmer. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. We're gonna bring this to a simmer, let this go for a couple hours, then we'll add in some vegetables, let it go for another couple hours, and then that's it, we'll have turkey stock. See you soon. Is it done now? Did we do it? Oh, it doesn't work just if you snap your fingers, you have to actually cut to something else. Okay, all right, so I simmered this stock for about 6 hours last night, and then I had to go to bed, so I turned the heat off and then turned it back on this morning for another couple hours. So this is now like an 8-hour smoked turkey stock. A overly reduced stock is actually not a bad thing for gravy because we're thickening it up anyway. All right, so we've got our strained out stock. This is 4 quarts. I'm gonna do 3 versions in the comments below, recipe-wise. So there's the full batch that I'm making now for like a lot of people. Then I'll have a half batch and a quarter batch recipe. So the main trick to this is combining the flour and the fat together so that when you slowly incorporate the stock, you end up with a smooth gravy without any flour lumps. Now this will have lumps because there'll be lumps of shallot and sage, but those are okay lumps. The good lumps, brought to you by benign tumors? I don't know. These are better than benign tumors. The general ratio most people use a 1/4 cup of flour per quart of stock. I'm putting a little extra butter in this because we're gonna fry up the shallots and the sage. If you like your gravy to be that super thick gravy, you can use more flour. If you like a really thin gravy, you can use less. I like a gravy that kind of runs a little bit on the plate. I don't want it to be like sludge. You shouldn't be able to have a scoop of gravy that like stays in the shape of the spoon. So, all right, pan over medium heat, butter goes in. That's the butter. We're just gonna let this melt. Then we're gonna reveal our secret weapon, which is actually just a little bit of soy sauce, little secret umami slammer in there. There's a lot of fat on top of this already. Just give it a little stir. That fat, which you might clarify out for like a chicken stock for like a soup. This is gravy. We're adding butter to this, so fat. If you're worried about fat, may I suggest a different holiday? Whew, that is a tasty boy. And then we're gonna add in our shallots and sage, fry those up. And so essentially you wanna cook these until they are the texture that you're okay with for the gravy. You're only gonna cook the gravy for a tiny amount of time. A little pinch of salt. You kind of want to just get these so that they're super fragrant and tender all the way through. If it looks super dry, you'll need to add a little more fat in there for the flour to take hold. And now we're just going to dump this whole cup of flour in and then stir it all together, get it all so it's nice and combined and toasty, and let it kind of take on a tiny bit of color. You're basically trying to start toasting all of the flour in fat to get that raw taste out of it. It kind of looks like mashed potatoes now. I will add my little secret flavor blast now. About a teaspoon. Look in the description box down below for the full recipe, including the 3 different versions, the full scale, half batch, quarter batch. And just want to keep an eye on the bottom, getting any like little bits that start to brown or anything. Burning is the enemy. Insert Emerald saying, oh, if you guys had smell-o-vision. We're going to start incorporating the stock in a little bit at a time, with the goal being that it stays kind of looking unified. If you added, like, if you just poured it all in, you'd have big chunks of flour kind of sticking around. Getting more mashed potato-y. If you made your stock in advance and it was sitting in the fridge, I highly recommend warming it up first. See, she knows. Because if you're putting cold stock into this, it's going to kind of mess up the process a little bit. Does this feel tedious? Yeah, but that's part of the deal, and that's also why it's so great to make this in advance. I'm making this months in advance, and I'm gonna freeze it and then defrost it on the big day. Let that cup of flour really expand, you know what I mean? Now, if you get to a place where you feel like your gravy is at the perfect consistency and you have more stock left, you can just stop and be like, great, I nailed it, I'm done. And now we're starting to get a little loose, so we can start to get a little faster on our amount of stock. I can turn the heat up. This is about where I want it to be. It'll start to thicken up more as it simmers, but I got all this stock left. Let's say I pour this all in now, and this is now way too thin. So you find out that you've put in either not enough flour or too much stock. Here's your inevitably essential gravy triage bonus content. Equal parts butter and flour. Quarter cup, which is a half a stick, quarter cup of flour. Just like before, but in a smaller quantity. Let this toast for about 2 minutes or so, just to get nice and unraw, especially now you're adding it into the gravy. Gravy triage, activate. Just like before, we're just gonna take some ladles of gravy and just getting it to a place that it's able to be poured back in without clumping. This guy is unified, and now we can just pour it right back in. I would not want to add much more flour than this to it because it gets to be pretty floury, but look at that. Kind of now it's got that body I want to it. Bringing it back to a little simmer just to kind of let it all come together. But now we've got smoked turkey, shallot, sage, gravy. I'm not gonna salt this now because I'm gonna freeze this for later. And in general, if you're making this in advance, I would wait to salt it until right before you're serving it, because you never know, it heats up, you reduce it, you forget about it on the stove. All right, so now this is kind of my preferred gravy texture. Look at the back of the spoon, how it coats it, but it's not like thick sludge. Look, when you reheat it, you might end up reducing more. So when you're saving it for later, you don't want it to be this perfect finished final product until you're heating it up for Thanksgiving dinner. Feels like Thanksgiving, folks. A couple of drops of lemon juice. Not to taste lemony, just to cut the fat. I mean now because it's August and I don't have a full turkey dinner to eat this with, we're gonna make a little turkey dipper just with this deli smoked turkey. It's weird that the turkey's ice cold, but I'm gonna freeze it, reheat it. It'll probably reduce down a little bit on the reheat, so it's gonna be slightly thicker than this in the final product, but I'm very happy with this. This is the gravy that will cover up all sins. Bring this to like someone else, like bring this to like your in-laws' Thanksgiving dinner and just be like, you guys do everything, I'll just bring the gravy. And then you just show up with this and pour it over and everybody is very happy. We made shallot, sage, smoked turkey gravy. We had a little triage bonus content. Adjust the thickness how you see fit. So if you want this to be way thicker, use way more flour, or add a little xanthan gum to it. This is Happy Thanksgiving.